Can I say hi, chat?
What, you see what time it is? See what time it
is? I see that.
It's Geeking Out time!
It's Geeking Out time, baby!
Let's go.
Woo!
We just watched Wrestlemania 29. We're here.
In the world.
Welcome to the first episode in a long time of Geeking Out. You might recognize me. I'm your host, John Wise. With me, my very first co-host, co-host, Chris Jackson. Chris, how you doing today? Welcome. Thank you.
Damn good. How about yourself, sir?
Let me tell you how I'm doing. Let's start right off the bat. We'll get over. We'll share our final thoughts here at WrestleMania. But right now, overall,
meh.
Let's start off. First match of the night. Not even on WrestleMania. I'm talking about the pre-show match between Intercontinental Champion Wade Barrett and The Miz. First off, you have an Intercontinental title match. Not even on the WrestleMania card, but on a pre-show match.
Pre-show. Intercontinental title.
I didn't get a chance to see the match. I'm hoping to check it out here online a little bit later. But The Miz did win. I would have rather, if he's going to win the title... First off, I'm glad that he won the title. Because this leaves Wade Barrett for an opportunity to go for the big title now.
That's true.
But if they were going to switch the title like that, if they weren't going to do it at WrestleMania, I would have rather of them do it on Raw. Because the pre-show, to me, should have been saved for matches like maybe Fandango versus Chris Jericho or the Mark Henry versus Ryback match.
Agreed.
And we'll get more into that here a little bit later on. What are your thoughts there on the pre-show?
On the pre-show, first of all, if my recollection is correct, The Miz has done the big dance at the big show for the big title.
He did headline WrestleMania.
He has wrestled for the main title to be the man at WrestleMania. So with the Intercontinental, so he wins the Intercontinental title,
and not even on WrestleMania.
A pre-show.
Now, but what are your thoughts on The Miz winning the Intercontinental title?
The Miz has been coming up lately, and I will give it to him. At first, I did not believe in The Miz. Reality star, wants to be a wrestler. Come on, right? However, over the years, he's proven himself to be just what he says. He is simply awesome, and he gets the job done. I see legend down the road, and I see that he's going to stick with it. I think he's going to be a team player. Later down the line, we're going to be talking about him in a big way. But if they keep playing him like this, I mean, it was a major title change, and someone who headlined WrestleMania,
and not even on this year's WrestleMania. Back in the day, all the titles were on the line at WrestleMania.
I know.
Moving on, the very first match of the evening that started off WrestleMania was Chris Jericho, the very first undisputed champion, going against, in his debut match, the man who kind of impressed me tonight a little bit, Fandango.
I may have to correct you, sir. Remember, they opened up with the match between The Shield, Randy Orton, Sheamus.
That was after.
Are you serious?
That was after the match.
I thought Fandango...
You went out the smoke, didn't you?
I did, because I was disgusted with Fandango.
Because I'm looking at the order of the matches. Right?
Really? Seriously? Okay, well, let's talk about the match then, because... Okay, yes, I am prejudiced against Fandango. First of all, I don't like saying the name. I don't like...
It's fun to say.
And no, it's uncomfortable to say.
I will say I can't think of Fandango, though, and I think of the spot you order movie tickets from.
Every time I hear his name, I'm reminded to call you and remind you that we have to get tickets for Wizard World.
There we go.
Every time. However, as much as I hate to admit it, Fandango did make a good showing.
He made a good show, yes.
You called it. You said that the kid had something. You said there was a reason that kid was there.
I know he was going to surprise people, because for the last 4 or 5 weeks, he'd show up, wouldn't wrestle, the chants, you can't wrestle.
Yeah.
And he proved everybody
wrong. He went against Chris Jericho,
who put on a great show as always.
As always at WrestleMania, both of them
shocked everybody
with the quality of the match. And as much as I hate to admit it, Fandango, he pulled it off.
It was a clean win. It was a clean win.
And you know what? You told me in the beginning of the match that kid's got something. I said no, he's got something, but it's probably something that none of us want to catch. You were winning. You were right on the money. Fancy moves and fancy pants aside, Fandango's got a future, man.
Letter grade,
whether I like it or not.
Letter grade, A to F. Letter grade of the match.
I'll give it a B. I'll give it a B. A steady B with prejudice against his name being.
I don't like the gimmick. I do like the guy. the wrestler. You give him a good gimmick. I think we're looking at a possible next Razor Ramon or DDP.
I was thinking the same thing.
I agree with you. The match was decent. Jericho put on a great match. He put on a great match. I think it was pretty steady. I'll give it a B. Plus.
With the valet, I will say this. With the valet,
who did not stay at the ringside.
Who did not stay at the ringside. You said something. She has the qualities of a Miss Elizabeth.
I see a Miss Elizabeth.
Jay Lethal did a very good thing when he was doing the Macho Man thing. However, I think Fandango could bring it back and pull it off. If he does it right, he keeps the chick on the side of him. Make it real classy.
Next match up was the one of my favorite matches of the night. I think it was one of yours. It was for the WWE Tag Team Championships. Team Hell No. Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan.
Yes.
Daniel Bryan and Kane.
Yes.
Against Dolph Ziggler and Big E Langston.
Oh God.
How impressed were you with Big E?
Oh man, you know what? I didn't think the big man had it in him. He's a monster. He's a beast. He is to be feared, and
And I said at the beginning of the match, he scares me.
Yeah,
I look at the guy, he scares me.
And when you see a guy that big move like that, and when he's that mean, and when he's that vicious, you get happy. You get happy, and you look forward to the pain that man is going to bring. And he's going to bring a lot of pain. And he's with the right guy to bring the pain with, Mr. Dolph Ziggler. Next champion. I was the first to say it. Next champion.
Hope and I'm actually, and you may have to correct me. I'm looking at the list. These matches aren't in order.
I told you.
So,
but we go on anyway.
I'm going down the list of.
You are the host, and we will stand on that. If you said that was the match, that was the match.
It might have been the Shield match, but I'm going to go with the results here that I'm looking at on the site.
No
so
problem,
I might be at fault there. Either way, though, back to the match though. A hell of a match. Team Hell No. Both Daniel Bryan and Kane put on a hell of a match.
Oh man!
Ziggler, Big E, even the part where AJ, one of my future ex-wives, got involved in the match. Still, Team Hell No managed to pull it off.
One comment about AJ. Oh God, it's just something about a crazy chick. It's just I'm keeping it clean. It's just something about a crazy chick, and it works. She drives the team of Ziggler and Big E, and they all work together. It's a nice go. It reminds me back in the days when China used to, really pull the strings.
Let me ask you this: we finally get to see the team of Ziggler and Big E. They didn't win the titles. Nope. It was an impressive loss, but they didn't win the titles. Do you think they're setting them up for a tag team, or do you think maybe it's an every now and again thing, and maybe they should stick with Ziggler on his own?
I think they should keep Big E and Ziggler together. I think they got a really cool HBK Big Daddy Cool vibe going.
I got a name for him.
Yeah.
Big Zig.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Big Zig.
Big Zig.
Is this we saw tonight the formation of Big Zig.
Big Zig. Because they're a great team. All three of them work great as a team. You got Ziggler, who tonight he showed shades of Flair. He showed shades of Double J. He showed that he can really play on a big field. And he had his boy come in right behind him. I didn't believe in Biggie. Didn't believe in him until I saw what he could do. But I'm talking about believing. We're talking about believing. Let's talk about the belief in Team Hell No. They put the work in. They've worked out the kinks. Oh God, we need a viable tag team division so they can run it.
Nice. All right. We'll get back to Ziggler in a moment. Right now, I want to get your letter grade for the tag team match.
Tag team match. You know what? I'm gonna give that something. I'm going to give that an A.
I agree. And again, great match. It was exciting. There were some interesting moments in that match. I love all four guys. Impressed me tonight. I'm giving that one an A minus.
I give it a solid A. I give it a solid A because it was a solid performance and it was WrestleMania. That was WrestleMania, my friend. One of the greatest moments, and I think we can all agree, Daniel Bryan really showed out.
And I'm going to say this, I'm going to end this segment here, we're going to go on to the next match, but I think the moment of that match for me was seeing him fly off the top turnbuckle to end the match with the Benoit headbutt.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And we were saying just before the match just how much Daniel Bryan reminds us of Chris Benoit. He proved it at the end of that match.
He has the heart of the machine, and he goes in there all the time, and he really pulled it off. And him and Kane, vintage Kane.
We saw
vintage Kane. I'm talking about young boy Kane. You know what I'm saying? When they used to just hurt people just to do it. They're a great team, and again, great WrestleMania moment. Both teams really shine. Solid day.
All right, moving on now. Now we have, again, I thought these were in order. They were not. It's my fault completely. But we have, in my mind, the weakest match of the night, which is kind of a toss-up between, I'll get into that later. But the weakest night of the match, the first weakest night of the match, for me, anyway, was Mark Henry against Ryback. I knew this match was going to be dull from the get-go. So dull, in fact, I think you went out to smoke. You didn't even see the whole match.
There was no reason to.
You didn't even see the whole match. I saw the whole match. It was essentially Mark Henry all the way throughout the whole match. You had Ryback. The whole match was set up essentially for Ryback to pick up Mark Henry and give him the cell shock. He picks him up to give him the cell shock. Mark Henry falls on top of him, pins him. Match is over. Of course, after the match, Ryback picks him up, does the shell shock anyway, does his little march, falls backwards. Pretty much that was it. He had his WrestleMania moment. I don't know what they're doing with Ryback. They had a strong push in the beginning with Ryback. People were comparing him to Goldberg. He was undefeated, and the man hasn't won in a single pay-per-view since he's been in the WWE. And Ryback really needed this win to solidify himself. The only way to really come back to this now is to make him heel.
It is kind of hard to really take Ryback seriously. It's kind of hard to take Ryback seriously these days. It goes back to Vince's big man fetish, and sometimes, you know, even if you're like the benefactor of Vince's big man fetish, it can kill your career. Sometimes it will kill your career. I went outside to have a smoke and enjoy the weather simply because if I wanted to see two overgrown men trying to prove something to each other in a drunken fashion, I can probably just go to the local parking lot.
Now you're going to spend too much more time on this.
Yeah.
Letter grade, even though you didn't, from what you saw, letter grade.
F.
Same here. I'm definitely going to give it a big solid F. This was a poor effort on WWE's part for this match. Wasn't a fan of this match at all. That should have been a pre-show. I was just getting ready to say this is the match that I would have picked for the pre-show. Put The Miz and Wade Barrett where they should have been on the WrestleMania card.
Yeah.
Done with that. Speaking of impressive matches, this match, not so much impressive, but it was something that needed to happen. We're talking about Randy Orton, Big Show, and Sheamus versus The Shield. The reason why I said this needed to happen was because The Shield needed to continue that winning streak.
Yes. Here's
my disappointments with the match. Big Show goes in as a heel. Now, I agree with keeping him a heel. He's a good heel.
Yeah.
Here's something that should have happened. Perfect opportunity. Randy Orton could have went heel, and or joined the Shield. I would have liked to see I'd like to see the Shield become a bigger staple. Honestly,
I agree.
But if that didn't happen, Randy Orton is still a face. Sheamus is still a face, and everybody is like surprised and shocked that Big Show turned. You know, when he did, why? He went in as a heel. He left as a heel, and the Shield wins another match. Still undefeated in WWE, as they should.
The only way I think I would have even been slightly impressed with Big Heel's turn, but there wasn't a turn. That was the thing. It was just him being him, an egomaniac. If he would have actually joined the Shield, I'm with you. I would like to see the Shield start building in ranks because right now they're an island amongst themselves. However, the shining moments of that match all belong to the Shield. So the match was necessary.
The only reason why that match was put there, and again, this is another match that could have happened in the pre-show.
Yeah,
the only reason why that match was there to increase the Shield's threat to the WWE. Other than that, the match was essentially pointless. You knew there was no surprises. You could have predicted until you're red in the face, but what the obvious was going to happen did happen.
Yeah.
Big Show went in as a heel, came out as a heel after taking out both Sheamus and Randy. End of story. I'll give the match a decent C.
You said throw it to pre-show. I say not, and the only reason I say don't throw it to pre-show because the Shield actually delivered. They actually showed that they actually have skill, that they can actually back up what they're talking about, and that's the sad part because. Wow, they're really good, and to just like throw these guys together in just like a really sad effort. I will, because of the because of the performance of the Shield tonight. I'll give him a solid B plus. And the fact that I got to see Randy Orton give somebody the RKO. Seriously, it was sweet. A couple of them were handed out, and I always love watching the Apex Predator do his thing.
Let's call it what it is, the Diamond Cutter. Anyway, we're going to move on. We're going to move on.
RKO.
It's the Diamond Cutter.
It's the RKO now.
It's the Diamond Cutter. Anyway, we're going on to the next one. A match I actually enjoyed. I actually enjoyed this match. And yes, I'm doing this hand motion because you know what match I'm talking about. For the World Heavyweight Championship, Jack Swagger against the champion, Alberto Del Rio. That's right. This match was a fun match.
It was a fun match. However, my pick.
I don't know why I had to go into the SpongeBob laugh, but
my pick lost. However, because we the people. Okay, Jack Swagger, though he lost.
I always thought you were against the people.
No.
Oh, that was just a racial thing. I don't know.
You know, I'm misunderstood for the most part. But we the people. Jack Swagger still went in there, and he put on a hell of a show. Alberto Del Rio came in as a true champion. The match, again, WrestleMania caliber. They bought their A game. They bought the viciousness. Jack Swagger, he is undeniable. You're going to see him around, you're going to hate him, and you're going to love it at the same time. He's going to wear gold, and he's probably going to be wearing Del Rio's gold in a little while. It's not over, baby.
Well, here's my thing. I always thought, and I said this from going in, this was an interesting storyline. To me, the storyline reminds me back in the day of when Sergeant Slaughter turned turncoat, turned Iraqi, and had a feud with Hulk Hogan. That's what this reminds me. I think that's what this was supposed to remind people of. And got totally blown out of proportion because people forgot that wrestling isn't real.
That is true.
But this storyline needed to end. I don't think it's over.
No. It didn't feel over.
But I'm one of those people who enjoy Alberto Del Rio as champion because the man defends his champion, not like another champion going into this match who comes in a year, gets a title shot, decides to defend it whenever he feels like it, which is the first time I believe he's defended the title. I think maybe the second time.
I went to go see G.I. Joe Retaliation.
We'll get into that. We'll get into that. But I like Alberto Del Rio as a face. I liked him as a heel. This match going in, there were no big expectations. The only thing, again, that I was upset about, and we're going to go into the Ziggler factor here, is we didn't see Ziggler cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase. And we'll get into that later on when we get to the next title matchup. A lot of not really any swerves. No twists.
No.
A lot of.
It was very solid, very consistent.
Very consistent. It was a wrestling match.
Yeah.
Against two wrestlers.
And it was WrestleMania quality. I myself, compared to the rest of the card, I'm giving it an A. Solid A.
I'm gonna give it a B plus.
I'll give it a solid A.
So
I'm
B plus.
I'm being generous with that one because we, the people, need to look out for each other.
Because your guy didn't win. Okay. Anyway. I was going to do this anyway, regardless of the order. I'm going to talk about the Triple H versus Brock Lesnar match.
Oh, God.
Which I thought I was going into this match, I thought I was going to hate it. Because, honestly, I'm sick of the sequel matches.
Exactly.
Because we had two sequel matches with The Undertaker last 4 years. 2 years, honestly. Shawn and Taker Part 2, Shawn and H Part 2, and now we got John Cena and Rock Part 2, and of course this was Triple H Brock Lesnar Part 2. Though it didn't take place at WrestleMania, it's still Part 2.
Yes.
So I was against this match from the very beginning. The more it went on in the beginning, which is Brock Lesnar just owning Triple H. Honestly, I should have known better. Kind of disappointed in myself.
That was a lot.
But it was boring. It started to become almost as bad as the Ryback Mark Henry match.
After a while, yes.
But then something happened. I'm not sure when it happened, but the match picked up a bit. You started to get into it a little bit. You heard the crowd actually start to get in a little bit more, because the crowd, for the most part, I'd say probably 70% of this match was dead silent.
Pretty much.
That's the way it came off on our end, anyway.
And our end was pretty clear. There was really no huge pops. There was... like you said, the momentum, it started slow, and it was basically Brock beating the living hell out of Triple H. And one thing I didn't enjoy, one thing I didn't like at all, and I may be petty for this, Brock is so scary that HBK runs from him. I expected a little bit more of HBK as far as in ways of helping.
Wasn't much into. There was really no
Of
point of him
helping
being
Triple
there
H.
other than going, "Hey, look, Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania."
I know, and that's what kind of
There was
bugged
no
me out.
major. Even when he tried the super kick, Brock, it served no purpose.
He swatted him off like a
The
fly.
only time he came in handy was to take Paul Heyman out.
Yeah.
That was the only time he came. And I expected maybe Vince to come down, maybe Stephanie to come down, some more interaction than what it was. But the fighting itself was brutal. The fighting itself was decent. It was good. Again, no blood, unless you want to count the bloody lip that Brock Lesnar got. But
he got that
again,
by accident.
what else are you going to expect out of a PG-rated,
That is true.
show?
Tell you the truth, what I thought was missing, and what I really would have loved was some good old-fashioned McMahon and Helmsley era DX love. Some good stomping out. Some good
bring in the Outlaws. Bring in the New Age Outlaws. They got stomped by Lesnar a few weeks ago.
It's
on
no
Raw.
holds barred. I mean, this is supposed to be Hunter style. Back in the day, when we were young bucks, man, we bear witness to men getting beaten just because they weren't liked. It was like a bad version of high school.
And considering this match came after the Undertaker Punk match, it was a major. To me, it was kind of a major letdown up until the end of the match.
Exactly.
And it's because of the end of the match that I'm even going to consider giving. Well, it's because of the end of the match I'm giving this a C-.
I can honestly say, I'm glad you mentioned that it came after the CM Punk Taker match. It actually made me look at Triple H during the match. Like, wow, just last year you delivered one of the greatest matches I've ever seen in my life. And now, this. So,
And it was really probably because Brock hasn't been in the ring very much.
Exactly.
They don't want Brock to hurt anybody because Brock will hurt you.
He hurts people.
But your letter grade, sir.
I'm gonna, you know what? Just to be a little bit kinder, I will give it a B-. A B-, just for the simple fact is, Brock did make a great showing. There was some pain. There was some beating there, and like you said, it picked up at the end of the match. So I give it a B-, just to be kind, and the fact that I did get to see Mr. WrestleMania. So yeah.
Now we're gonna go ahead and talk. We're going to next talk about my favorite match. I think it's your favorite match of the evening, and quite possibly these matches always steal the show. And I was going to save this one for last, but honestly, it's time.
It is time?
It is time.
All right.
We're talking about the best in the world,
CM
Punk versus The Undertaker. And there was so much controversy going on. Wrestling fans even were saying too far leading into this, but it was well worth it in my book. I think Paul would have liked it. But yeah, CM Punk versus The Undertaker again. WrestleMania stealer.
Oh, God.
There were so many... I mean, this is one of the matches. See, I'm a Taker fan and I'm a Punk fan. So for me, either one would have worked for me. I would have liked seeing Punk take the streak, but at the same time I wanted to see Undertaker keep the streak. So for me, it was a win-win scenario.
Either way it goes. Wow. I would have to say probably the best WrestleMania match I've ever witnessed. Actually kind of emotional, man, because these days...
I wouldn't go as far as the best. The emotional, but not the best.
I would say one of the best just because, as we kept pointing out, how unique it was. And the fact that Punk showed no fear.
I'm glad you pointed it out.
That Punk was
one
aggressive.
time, but to me, there was one time in the match you actually saw fear out of Punk. If you rewatch that whole match,
one time,
you only find out one time. You only see one time.
And Taker had to instill that fear over a period of time during the match. Punk came in with such intensity. He was a man on a mission. He came with a smile on his face, a sick smile on his face.
He had a huge smile on his face.
The insolence of Punk. It was classic wrestling. It was what wrestling is about. It was the best in the world versus the best in the business, and it was the one match that I would have to say in WrestleMania that was truly about the business and the love of the business. That's why I say it's probably one of the best matches that I've ever witnessed, simply because I saw something there. I saw something that you don't see in every match. I saw
Taker being bitch slapped Twice.
Yeah, and old schooled. Twice. Punk.
Once, 1.5.
1.5, but
he almost pulled off of it. He kind of got
just for
crotched on
Punk
the
to
ropes
do it.
there.
Oh God! And when Punk did the cover, arms crossed,
Tongue
tongue
hanging
out. It was
Punk,
what Punk did tonight was an homage to the business.
I don't think there was a single moment of that match I did not like.
Not
Taker
at all.
or Punk.
Not at all. And Taker.
Taker is known for putting on great matches.
Yeah.
Not good matches, but he's been known. And just I'm sitting here afterwards trying to calm down, trying to get my voice back, thinking what that match would have been. Punk is in his prime right now.
Yeah.
What would the match have been like had he taken on Taker in Taker's prime?
You know what? I actually think Punk would have took it in Taker's prime. You know why? Because now the one thing I love about watching the dead man, I'm not gonna say the old man, the dead man. One thing I love watching about the dead man is you see the difference between a grown man and a little boy. A little boy is not going to beat a grown man, and when you want to see a grown man beat a man down, you go to the dead man. And he does it the best. If you saw the look in his eyes, and if you just see the man work, you see the love of the business, you see the blood, you see the sweat. This is the last time you will ever see somebody of his kind, somebody of his breed, and the closest thing to it is Punk. So to me, it was great. And just after, when he looked out into the crowd,
and I was just ready to point that out. We got to see something also tonight. A unique moment in that match happened at the very end. After the match, was you saw Taker tear up.
Yeah.
And you had mentioned you say that you saw this as his last Mania. Those were the tears. I had to disagree with you. I think those were tears for Paul Bearer. Genuine, true tears for Paul Bearer, because Bear has always been there in some capacity, whether at ringside, in the back, for every WrestleMania, whether he's on home tweeting him or calling him before after the match. He was always the first WrestleMania for Undertaker without Paul Bear. And this was, to me, Undertaker's ultimate homage to Paul Bear. This was his ultimate thank you, Paul Bear.
I'm going to tell you, brother, when I looked into that man's eyes tonight, I saw a farewell. I don't know if it was a farewell to the crowd, if it was a farewell to Paul, if it was a farewell to the business. I don't know, but I saw something. He was saying goodbye to something, and like I said, it's getting harder and harder to watch the dead man leave that ring, man, because, man, I get scared, man.
So I think he was saying thank you and goodbye to Paul Bear.
I hope so, man, because I would love, as much as I would love to see him come back, at the same time, nobody's put more blood, sweat, and tears than the dead man.
Let me ask you this now, and I'll give you my letter grade here right now for this match, but I got a question for you after you give yours. I'm telling you right now, I'm giving this a solid, I don't think there's any doubt of this, A+.
A+. I was gonna say this. I was hoping you were gonna say A, just so I could best you and say A+. A+ now, with extra credit points.
Now I ask you this: where does Undertaker go from here? We both thought that last WrestleMania would have been a nice way to just say goodbye to Undertaker for WrestleMania. 20-0, an unheard of, never will be reached again accomplishment.
Yes.
He decided to come back, face Punk. 21-0, where does he go from here? Does he come back, and if he does, who does he face? Does he face Brock Lesnar, as rumored to be this year? Does he have another match with somebody else, maybe?
You said, where does the dead man go from here? The dead man goes wherever he damn well pleases.
Where would you like to see the dead man?
Tell you the truth, I gotta be honest with you, I'd like to see the dead man get some rest, man. A soldier fights to make a better tomorrow for the kids, man, and he's done that, man. I personally would just like to see it, because he doesn't owe us a damn thing. We owe him, man. And I'm gonna leave it at that, man.
Okay. And then, of course, now we have the final card of the match. When we all knew this was going to be the final card of the match.
We did not know it was going to be by far.
Now, last year,
I'll finish that sentence later.
Put John Cena against WWE. Well, no, I'm sorry. John Cena and The Rock. The championship title wasn't even on the line, and it still finished off Mania. That was a beef I had about last year. This year, it was the WWE champion, The Rock, versus John Cena. Once again, Cena, Rock 2. I went into this not expecting anything better than last year. Last year's match was actually a good match to watch. This year, two guys I really don't care for. I respect them. I don't. They're not my guys. This match disappointed me in so many ways. There were no twists, no turns. Again, a perfect chance for John Cena to go heel, which would actually make him interesting again.
Yes.
And the one thing I wanted to happen, I don't care if it was John Cena who won or The Rock won. In case you don't know, Cena won. He's the new champion.
Big surprise.
The one thing I wanted to happen, and again, I thought the rules for Money in the Bank were you cash it in by WrestleMania. Apparently, those rules have changed. And,
because Cena wanted them to change.
And so Dolph Ziggler did not cash in Money in the Bank, which
No.
is what I was hoping he was going to do. And I believe should have happened. Because the way Mania ended was so lackluster. It was essentially, you kiss my ass, I kiss your ass. You know, here's your moment, have it. Okay, here's your moment, have it. Hey, I mean, all you heard was a lot of boos.
Yeah.
Nobody really cared.
No. It was. I'm gonna go ahead and say this, man. It was the worst match of the night. It was the worst match of the night.
Worse than Henry and Ryback, which we already gave Fs to.
God, probably yes, because at least Henry and Ryback, you know, actually, the huge retarded lugs that they are, they at least did the best they could with what they had.
Which wasn't much.
There was no, there's no titles or anything. However, man, watching Rock versus Cena, it was sloppy.
It was
worse. Slow.
I'm glad you mentioned the sloppiness.
It was.
There were so many mistakes.
Was that a dark match we were watching? I mean, Rock.
I was kind of hoping we were watching the rehearsal video.
You know,
actually the real match later.
I've seen better. I've seen.
It was a boring match.
It was. So
it was.
boring.
It was the Rock. It was Rock's 3-move repertoire against John Cena's 3-move repertoire. As we saw, I mean, how many between both the Rock and Cena? How many Rock bottoms did we see? We saw what, 4 maybe between from Rock. We saw about 4 or 5 attitude adjustments. We saw the STF. We saw the
people's elbow.
What
twice?
We saw the fist thing drop that he
it was
the 5-knuckle shuffle.
It was a best of.
And
it was a best
of. It was like how many times? You know what? I do that in the video game.
Yeah.
How many rock bottoms or how many GTAs can I give an opponent before I decide I'm going to end the match before it gets boring? That's what it was like.
That's when I said, stop cheating. Stop cheating. You keep rock bottoming me.
I was watching. I felt like I was watching somebody play a match out in a WrestleMania video game between Cena and Rock, and they just kept doing the same move over and over. It was boring. The crowd wasn't into it.
I'm almost convinced that the whole match was a Make-A-Wish Foundation gig, and they were just going through the motions.
I enjoyed seeing the Hall of Famers come out more than I enjoyed this match.
God, it was so horrible, and I'm a Rock fan. I am a Rock fan, but I never, I expect more, Rock. I expect more, man. I mean, you've been working at a standard, bro. You are the most electrifying man in sports entertainment history, bro. That match, oh God, that was like watching Michael Jackson in the final years, all drugged out, trying to dance. That's not cool, bro. It's not cool at all.
Letter grade.
You just letter grade. I'm not a solid F. A solid F, because there was just no
excitement.
There was no excitement. There was no inspiration. There was nothing
there was
real
only one
about
time
that.
I reacted to that match, and I predicted it ahead of time. Was John Cena pretending to screwing up, and then The Rock trying to catch him, and Cena goes, "No, I planned that," and then he tries to rock bottom.
The only thing that Cena
was
did
predictable
tonight
as well.
that actually kind of like made me say, "Oh, that was cool," was when he gave the Rock bottom.
Which time?
Yeah, I know.
Which?
But the sad part is the Cena Rock thing is nothing but Cena having Rock envy, which already sounds kind of strange. And that's all it was. If you listen to the promos, Cena blames Rock for his divorce, for his life collapse, and for him not having any titles. What's going on, Cena? I mean, really. And then at the end, you see this. It was basically a screw you to the fans, because you saw the look on Cena's face like, I don't care if you like it or not. I'm getting paid, bitch. So
he did hit.
I'm rich,
There was one thing, there was that one time when he had this smile on his face, this crooked smile. I was like, maybe this match's going to pick up, he's going to go heel. I was praying that somebody would go heel.
But I was talking about at the very end where he says, he like looks at the camera and he's like, I don't even have to go heel. This is enough. The fact that you know that that this title is always gonna come to me, whether you like it or not. That's just what's gonna happen.
My only hope for this match is, and I'm telling you right now, this match for me is also a flat out F. My only hope is that tomorrow night on Raw, the second most important Raw of the year, Ziggler comes in and takes the title off Cena.
Please, Dolph, come in with Biggie. When Cena is out there prancing and everything, Rock is going to be at home.
Have Biggie lay him. Actually, I think Rock's supposed to be on Raw as well.
Really?
I think he's scheduled for Raw.
Okay,
have Biggie lay out. This is what you do. You have Biggie lay out Cena.
Yes. Hurt him badly.
And then you have Ziggler come out, surprise the crowd.
Yes. And
he pins and wins Cena a la CM Punk.
I will say Dolph Ziggler deserved more time. He deserved gold in this WrestleMania.
I'm glad you said more time, because now we're at the end of the WrestleMania. We got an F. Here's some complaints. You notice, those who did watch it will notice that there was a match missing on the card. That match was supposed to be Brutus Clay and Tensai, and with the Funkadactyls against the Rhodes Scholars and the Bella Twins. This match didn't happen. It wasn't even announced that they took it off. And I'm assuming, I will probably read somewhere online, that it was removed because of time, to make room for more John Cena Rock.
Yeah, which was just... What was your dad keep saying? Well,
yeah,
they got at least 20 more minutes.
15 minutes
you
left.
know, they're just going to keep dancing.
So,
Rock's resting.
I mean, these are the things that really make those in the back angry. I mean, you have a very angry Zack Ryder, not part of WrestleMania. You got a very angry... I'm sure you got... I'm sure the U.S. title wasn't even on.
We apologize, bro.
The U.S. title wasn't even up for grabs. You had the Intercontinental title up for grabs on a pre-show. You take off guys like the Rhodes Scholars, who have put their all in their characters, put their all in their tag team. You put them back together, and for what? To take them off of the WrestleMania card. 4 guys who earned their WrestleMania spot taken off.
Yeah.
And then you got guys like Zack Ryder, you got guys like Tyson Kidd, who of course is out with injury. Where was 3MB?
Yeah.
Where were some of these other guys?
3MB. I never thought I would say that, but 3MB would have actually made it a little bit livelier.
There was no background interaction even.
Wow. None.
There was no
No segments.
There was no segments in the back. There was no pre-match, post-match interviews.
This was kind of lacking. Now that you mentioned, no segments.
We had no celebrity interactions.
No John Laurinaitis.
Unless there was somebody in the crowd. Something that would have been great to see. Pee Wee Herman kept indicating that he was in the back at WrestleMania. There was pictures online that he's posted that he was with the Divas. Maybe bring him in a segment or something with Santonio Marella.
Yeah.
Where was he in WrestleMania? You saw on the screen that Zack Ryder was tweeting. Why wasn't he part of WrestleMania? Why are you? And
I have one definitive answer for that. And
here comes the Zack Ryder hating.
Look. I'm not gonna even waste words on Scotty 2 Hotty Jr.
Woo woo woo.
The love child of Brian Christopher and Scotty 2 Hotty. Anybody who says woo woo woo, they need to be immediately detained in Guantanamo Bay. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Woo woo woo.
Obama, get on your job. Anyway,
you're welcome.
Yeah, thanks. I don't even know what I'm saying thank you for.
I don't know.
However, yeah, there was just so many people. Like you said, there was no interaction. They probably could have done without Zack Ryder. However,
okay, fine. But even you know what? If you weren't going to do that card with Brutus Clay and Tensai and the Rhodes Scholars, give the reason why. You know what? Hey, last minute decision. Rhodes Scholars beat him up. There's no match. There's no match. You have an interaction in the
no backstage segments.
So there's no match.
Storyline.
And then you have that match, and we're probably going to end up seeing that match. And we're probably going to end up seeing the match on Raw tomorrow night.
Probably.
So, and again, that's a match if they weren't going to put it on the card, as they weren't going to, they were going to take it off, put it at the pre-show, put the Intercontinental title on the show.
Yeah. I mean,
I go back to the Intercontinental
title. That doesn't make sense. And The Miz, again. has headlined WrestleMania.
So,
He's been to the big show.
the final grade for this year's WrestleMania. I'm not going to give WrestleMania an F. I am going to give it a decent C because there were a few matches that I liked. There was some trying, but there was a lot of. And I'm not even going to sell it. So I'm giving it a C minus. Because we gave what an A. We gave out 2 A's, and most of them were all C's or F's.
Yeah.
So I think overall, I'm going to give it a C minus.
Let me state this is my first WrestleMania, probably with my friend. Going it the right way. I appreciate it.
Your first WrestleMania, watching it on the screen live.
Yes, sir. Done the right way. You've been on me about that for years.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
That was my. That was part of the working on that.
Yes. Yes. But
I enjoyed the C chants actually with Alberto Del Rio. The
awesome.
C.
You said C minus.
C. I gave it a C minus.
And as much as it pains me to say this, I am going to give it a solid D. A solid D. Just for the simple fact is, in the immortal words of a very, very wise woman who was guided us all through hard times, Gilda Radner. Jersey? That's the curse. Jersey. That's what's wrong with the show. It was in Jersey. It goes back to Jersey. God bless you, Gilda. You tried to tell us.
No offense to the Jersey viewers.
Jersey.
No offense to the
Jersey. You live
viewers.
there. You know it's no major event should be held.
Another thing I want to ask your opinion about. Next year, it was announced towards the end of WrestleMania. WrestleMania 30 will be held in New Orleans.
Nice.
What do you think?
I think that'd be interesting. I think that's gonna be nice, and hopefully they bring a better game than they brought to Jersey. Tell you the truth.
Do you think we'll see the Rock and Brock match?
Hopefully, tell you the truth. I'm not looking forward to the Rock.
I would rather not see Rock or Brock back. And I told you, I told you my dream match for next year. My dream match for next year's WrestleMania, I would love to see, and because I think he has one more match left in him. He said he can do it. I want to see him do it. I want to see CM Punk versus Stone Cold Steve Austin.
That would be awesome.
And I think even if Austin's not on the top of his game anymore, I think he could still have a great match with CM Punk. I think CM Punk could make that match really memorable.
I'm going to make it a little bit more interesting. You say you want Brock out. I say keep Brock in, but keep Brock consistent. You know, stop keeping him in the back and then making him a monster. I'll tell you what my dream match would be for next year, because I want to see I want to see a lot of the.
Give us something we possibly see here.
I want to see a lot of the real heavy hitters, the real wrestlers go out there. I want to see Brock versus Punk. I want to see Heyman. I want to see Heyman backing both these guys, mentoring both these guys.
And he said he would. He said he'd be in both corners.
And I want to see a split, and I want to see the 2 Sith proteges go at it to see who can really be worthy of of Heyman's approval. You got to admit right now, you didn't think that Heyman would last. Heyman is the business. He's part of the business. He's not going anywhere. He's been telling people for the longest about great talent, and he's been standing by talent. Now he finally gets to see the fruits of his labor. I would love to see his top boys in WrestleMania go at it. I think it would be a brutal, bloody match, and I think it would be a breath of fresh air for Punk to really do what he does best. Go back to those Ring of Honor roots and really get down with the big man.
Here's another question for you. Do we see Cena with title headline WrestleMania again next year?
If there is a merciful God, no. However, God and Vince have this truce to leave each other alone, so we may see it.
I say we see Punk with the title at the headline WrestleMania next year.
That would be great.
I say Punk will have the title back by the end of next year. If he doesn't, Ziggler will have the title next year.
Like I said, I like Ziggler, and Ziggler's the type of champion we need right now. We need a true champion.
I think he'd be a better champion than Swagger.
Tell you the truth, probably I'll put my money on that. As much as I like Swagger, Ziggler, like I said, I see shades of Flair. I see shades of Double J. I see championship material. I see a man who can get it done. Same there. Same thing here. He has it together. I see him doing nothing but going up. He has a great stable. He has a great team right now. Ziggler for championship. Give Ziggler the gold. Put him up against Punk. Let those two go at it for a little while. Somebody please cripple Cena. cripple, and I say this in the most sincere fashion, cripple Cena so he will be gone for the next year, so we can all just clean our palates.
Maybe an accident.
Of that something. Just oh God, my mouth is so dirty from the Rock Cena match. It's just an icky feeling from that.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I think we just lost Punk. We
No!
just lost Punk. There we go.
Best in the world. In the world, and he proved it tonight.
Thank you for tuning in to the return of Geeking Out. Make sure you email. We want to hear your views on WrestleMania, what you thought of the segment today. Go ahead and email me at geekingout_@yahoo.com. I'm John Wise. This is Chris Jackson. Thank you. We'll see you next time.